Greetings everyone, we hope you're keeping safe wherever you may be. I'm Cap Maceda Aguila and I'd like to welcome you to the very first edition of what we'd like to call simply as ZigWheels One-on-One, where we feature executives of car companies for some meaningful discussion about the brands they represent and the auto industry in general. The luxury marque Lexus first opened shop in the Philippines in 2009 with a sole showroom at the Bonifacio Global City in Taguig. More than a decade after, it still has one facility, but today is a strong third among more established luxury brands in the country. Well, this is just mind-boggling, right? Well, today, we try to get to the explanation, or get the explanation of this success, among other juicy things that you may not know about Lexus Philippines. We are privileged to have with us the president of Lexus Manila, which operates the aforementioned Seoul showroom. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Raymond Rodriguez. Okay, again, thank you very much, Raymond, for joining us today for Zig Wheels. This is the first episode of our what we call Zig Wheels One-on-One. So this is a one-on-one interview, of course, with you, and thank you for making time for us. So let's get right to it. Um, of course, the pandemic happened last year, and everyone and all the industries were basically affected by it. Can you share with us how the pandemic affected Lexus Manila sales and even after sales? Actually, I know that we were talking about after sales in particular. Can you share with us how business was during those early months of the pandemic?
Yeah, so good morning and thank you, Cap, first of all, for inviting me for this interview. And going back to your question, actually, last year, 2020 was very difficult, I think, for everyone. However, our dealership was able to manage in selling around 474 units. And that was a very difficult year for us. And if you remember the first semester, we had the ECQ lockdown. And if I'm not mistaken, we had around mid-March all the way to the whole month of April. So totaling everything, I think it's around 2 months in effect, no? That there was a slowdown. Actually, zero operations, no? And when we analyzed the first 5 months of that year, last year, we were down by as much as 43% compared to the previous year. No? So even our after sales, less customers came in. And in fact, again, no operations, we went down by as much as 37%. Then after that, towards the second semester, I think gradual recovery did happen. And by year end, we improved, but still on a negative. Our vehicle sales went down to as much as 24% minus. And for our after sales, almost the same at 23%. Now, despite the decline in the total number of sales during that time, we were able to manage to increase our share in the luxury car market to 25%. This was 2% up. And as you mentioned earlier, what we did do is to keep our relationship open with our customers, no? Especially those would-be customers or personable during the pandemic. That was our approach. And of course, at Lexus, we take pride in exceptional customer service. And amidst the unfavorable situation at that time, we had to achieve many communications through webinars, video calls, messages, and so on. And together with Lexus Philippines, we came up with the Lexus Remote. And this was one of the avenues to get in touch with our customers, to reach out. And aside from that, we had also a way of showcasing our products, no, through these webinars, no? And we had various number of activities that never stopped. And yeah, even our sales consultant would also communicate with our customers on a regular basis.
Okay, well, good to know. Yeah, I think the word of the pandemic actually, as far as businesses go, was digitalization, right? I mean, people
Yes.
were shifting to online. People were exploring digital tools. Can you also share with us how? Well, you mentioned Lexus Remote and stuff like that. So, Lexus was able to realize business, kumbaga hindi kayo na zero because of tools
Mhm.
like that.
Yes. Yes, that's true. So in the Lexus Remote, we had a number of units that had, it's like a situation that you're in the showroom and our sales consultant will do the walk around presentation, both exterior and interior. We had around 3 or 4 models, no? So customers could just log in and take a look at the virtual tour of our product. So that was one very positive uh, result that we had. In fact, it is still in force right now. And what was also interesting was the webinars. No, we had webinars. We would invite our customers. We had such a thing as cooking. We had seminars on even wine and sake, and we even had an economic briefing, no, through First Metro, our partners. So we had quite a number of various topics, and it was good because we had Q&A, and in fact, our customers appreciated of what we were doing at that time. So we were never really out of reach. No. So together, we were always trying to contact each other.
Yeah, well, that's good to know because as you mentioned earlier, Lexus is kind of like a big part of the business, and just like other luxury brands, a big part of the business is about maintaining relationships, right? Making and maintaining and sustaining relationships, and these are, I guess, what I'm trying to say is that it's not like a simple someone looks at the car, you make a sale, and then that's it, right? I know for a fact that Lexus, as you also as our conversations go through the years, you I know that you put a lot of work into maintaining and sustaining those relationships, meaning your customers, right?
Yes.
How difficult is that? Or I mean, how do you do that during the time of the pandemic? Because a lot of it is very personal. You know, it's a person-to-person interaction. Like for instance, by from experience, I know that the coffee at Lexus Manila is excellent, and I miss that
Yes.
actually. So can you just explain to me like how do you then pivot to give that same sort of experience to your customers?
Yes. Before that coffee, no, actually we even had remote test drives now. So we brought our cars to our customers in their residential areas, in their subdivisions, and to ensure that we also had the back lens, you know, the treatment to ensure that the vehicles are safe before and after each test drive. So that's one. So we went to an actual place of where customers would reside. And also, I mentioned earlier that we had webinars, let's say for wine. So what we did was to deliver wine to their homes. We had sake, so we delivered that. And we also had some coupons, no, entitling our customers to visit Grand Hyatt, where we had those cooking lessons, no. So such small ways, no, of doing things for us is better than nothing at all. So the coffee, they would come here, but before that, we also had to be very strict with safety protocols. And if you remember, our associates had to comply with the IATF guidelines, no, in operating our Lexus showroom. So again, aside from that, we did some Lexus Remote and social medias, social media channels. We went through Vibers, and also we sent out our product leaflets electronically, and pricing and features. No, those are quite a number of activities we've done during those times.
Okay, well, that's good to know. The whole as a whole, the auto industry, the Philippine auto industry fell, of course, expectedly in sales. I think it was 40% down from the previous year. But can you share with us how Lexus Manila itself, or Lexus in the Philippines itself, did in terms of the business?
Yeah, so Lexus is always within the top three places. Now, the big three are basically BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz. So we would change places from time to time, and it was quite stable. When one goes down, the rest goes down. And in fact, our growth last year was negative. But what I'm happy to say right now is, with this current condition, we have increased already to almost, I would say, for Campy members, there's around close to 60% growth. And for all combined, it's around 40 to 50%. So there's growth already this year. So that's more or less what we are in that position. So we're within the top three. Sometimes we're number two, and sometimes we're number three. Sometimes we'll be number one in previous years. So it's a very stiff competition among the three. and we're eating up the same pie anyway.
Now, in my interviews with attorney Gutierrez and Fe Agudo of Campi and Avid, they are both saying that they expect 2021 to be a recovery year for the auto industry. What do you think? What do you think about this? What can we expect? And probably maybe the question is, what do you see in the luxury market in particular?
Well, as I shared with you, our January to June figures, the industry itself is a growth of 48%. No? And it was very easy for us to achieve this because last year, as I mentioned, we almost had 2 months of no operations. No? So when you compare, it's not like apples to apples. This year, I think we only gave up half a month during the ECQ. No? But of course, this year we should be selling more than last year. That was the rock bottom at that time, no? Last year. So this year we're looking at growth of around 30 to 50%. But the problem is with the recent, what you call this Delta virus, no, transmissible, and the spread is getting more out of control. Hopefully, with this ECQ, no, from next week, then again our growth will be hampered, no. But people are, I think, now a lot more prepared than before. So I'm saying if the industry right now grew in June by 48%, more or less, this is probably what we can still achieve through the year, no. We had momentum going. In fact, last month we sold a number of units. But with the news of this ECQ, then I think it will be there's going to be a slowdown. However, for the last quarter, we still have 4 to 5 months. There may be some recovery, pa rin, no? It depends. If we can get back to much better ways, no, than what we are having right now, then I think recovery can be towards the fourth quarter. So I think you asked me earlier, we did less than 500 last year. That was 474. Maybe the next question you'll ask me is, so what about this year? And we already sold 269 for the first 6 months. So we should be hitting more than 500 units or more. And I guess this goes for the other manufacturers as well. There should be some growth somehow.
Okay, but will reaching that 500 figure, will that be directly influenced by, let's say, well, of course, we're all hoping that the ECQ works and we don't have to go into tighter lockdowns for the duration of the year. But is that 500 achievable, or I mean easily achievable, or do you think that 500 will depend on whether or not we get into these kinds of situations again where we have to be quarantined again, more restricted?
Well, it's really hard to say. No one can really guarantee now what will happen in the next few months. But I think 500, yes, we can achieve. Not easily, but I think at least 500 units due to the fact that this year's condition will be much better than last year, no? Unless total lockdown tayo for more than like 2 to 3 months. And people nowadays think that recovery can be done. Last month was our second highest record for this year in terms of sales. So it proves that we were able to recover right away. Right? We had some minor controls before that. So right now with this lockdown in August, and by the way, it's also the ghost month, no? So double whammy. We have ECQ coupled with a ghost month. So as I mentioned, I think we can recover and in fact go even over 500 units. More especially on the next last quarter of this year when things will praying that will recover and give us better results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amen to that, brother.
Yeah,
well,
and vaccines, diba, will be increasing. Yeah. So yeah.
So it's really tied to well, we can definitely say it's tied to number one, the level of quarantine or restrictions that we have, and probably number two, that's also tied to the availability of the vaccine or how quickly the vaccine can roll out so that we can be more comfortable to go out. Probably that maybe that's it, right? One
Yes.
of the things also that the pandemic has done, even globally, is that it seems to be accelerating the pace of electric vehicle adoption. A lot more,
Yes.
a lot more attention is being given to the that kind of those kinds of vehicles, and quite a number of brands have actually now brought in electrified models. But to be fair, and I know this also, Lexus has always been offering hybrid models. You've been quietly doing that. Of course, with Toyota also. I mean, Toyota's it ties into that effort of Toyota as well with the Prius and all that and hybrids. You've always been making your hybrids available. Can you tell us about this and what kind of reception have you seen from the market when you first started offering hybrids and then up to now? Or do you see an uptick probably in the interest of customers?
Yes, Cap, it took quite a while. And well, I'm happy to, and I'm proud to say that Lexus is the only one really selling hybrid successfully now. We have sold over 500 hybrid units from the time we started in 2009. And on the average, we can sell as many as 15 to 20% hybrid vehicles out of our total sales. So that's a very significant accomplishment that Lexus has been doing and promoting hybrid vehicles. And we expect that our hybrid will sell more. With the recent launching of our new Lexus IS for the first time, we have some variants having hybrid models. And to date, as I mentioned, we're over 500 hybrid vehicles. And right now, we're selling almost like 16 to 20% hybrid from our total sales from January to June. And you mentioned that we are going through electric vehicles now, and Lexus has announced that we will have something like globally, we'll introduce like 20 more new vehicles by 2025 now. So these are various models which ranges from BEVs, PHEVs, and EVs, no? HEV, so hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and battery electric vehicle. No? So that's a number of models coming out until 2025.
Yes, wow, that's very exciting. Actually, a lot of excitement was also generated by Lexus when it unveiled the LFZ electrified
Yes.
concept. Maybe another question would be during those early days. I know you told me that people were kind of also they were buying hybrids even though it wasn't the fashion yet or the trend, no. But maybe I want to get a sense of how they are these days. Are people now more willfully getting hybrids, knowing what they are, or I mean, maybe my question is, do we know more? Do Filipinos know
Yes.
more about hybrids now, or what hybrids stand for compared to the early days when you were offering it?
Yes, actually, Cap, there's a strong influence now from the US. Some of our Lexus customers did come from the US, and they know and they're aware of hybrids. However, locally, it took time, and right now they're already buying our hybrid vehicles. Their first hesitation at that time was how about the battery, hybrid battery? Will it last? How much is it? What's the warranty, and so on. So we addressed that. And as I mentioned, our units in operation is more than 500 hybrids, and we have basically no problems with the hybrid batteries. And one is also seeing it on the road. Some of our customers here bought a hybrid because they have a neighbor or they have a relative who bought a hybrid already. So the reputation, durability, everything is already addressed, and they can now accept. And in fact, we have been coming out with a lot of articles about hybrid technology, the benefits, and so on. And more and more are becoming more familiar with the hybrid technology. So it's just a matter of time. As I mentioned, we started off less than 5%, struggling at 10%, but now we're hitting even 20%. Especially like, let's say, the hybrid IS. Huh? If you compare the Lexus hybrid versus regular model and divide it by the total IS, we can hit 50 to 60% hybrid. So out of 10 IS that we're selling, 5 are hybrids at least. No? So that's a true testimony of what we are doing right now.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Now, I want to ramp up the excitement even more, no? Because this year I think it's been a very busy year for Lexus in general. We saw the second gen NX rolled out with the I love the Lexus spelled out at the rear, by the way. And of
Yes.
course, a lot of people were already asking, so when are we gonna see this in the Philippines? And what else does Lexus have in store? What can you reveal for us? Baka pwede kami
Well,
maka-scoop.
yes, yes. Well, yung isa, sinabi mo na, it's the NX, no, as you mentioned, and yes, it's really spelled out, no. That's how strong the brand is becoming, no. And we have quite a number of products, of course, that will come in later on, of which I cannot divulge as of now. But rest assured that we're working for newer products, greater products, and the best from Lexus. So I hope you can just wait and see, no.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Now, speaking of good products, when it was first launched at the Tokyo Motor Show in 2019, the LM got a lot of people excited, particularly Filipinos, and I heard that even then people wanted to make their reservations already at Lexus. Can you share us about the good stuff about LM and how it's doing now?
Yes, actually, the LM is, if not the most important model for us in Lexus, probably one of the reasons why we were able to survive or even do not that, quite well last year was the launching of that new LM. Some were saying what a timing. There's already a COVID-19 situation and so on, but to our uh, to our surprise, no, that it sold so well last year that when we started in last March, no, our waiting, even the reservations list, was more than a year and a half, no, and supply was quite limited, and we sold over 150 units last year. So it was number one, and right now this year alone, that was something like 30 to 35% for total sales, and we thought that it will probably slow down. But guess what? From January to June, we sold quite a number again. And in fact, it's our number one selling model, the LM. Of course, it's more on the seven-seater. This is around 70% seven-seater and 30% four-seater, no? Models. So it's very strong, continues to be strong. And in my opinion, it's the one and only true luxury van in the market.
Noted, duly noted. Well, I'm very happy for you guys. I mean, again, even before the pandemic, the excitement was there, and I'm sure you knew about that as well. And I think for the LM to do well during this time is really a testament to how strong the brand is, probably, and how the LM resonates with buyers. Now, I'd like to talk to you about how do you see the luxury market during this pandemic? Because there have been observations also from people, and we're not just talking about luxury cars, but even, let's say, hobbies or items such as expensive watches and stuff like that. It's been actually on the uptrend during the pandemic. What kind of trend are you seeing with regards to the luxury market, and what does that mean for Lexus over at least the short term that we have this pandemic problem?
Yeah, so the trend is, I think, no, one is out, which is traveling, especially overseas. Maybe within the Philippines, yes, but very minimal. I think it's more on people are limited, no? They want limited areas for movement. That's one. And then another is vehicles. They still continue. There's a slowdown, but they still want to buy vehicles because right now you wouldn't want to share, no, a ride. Some would prefer to be alone. So that's somehow boosting the sales of vehicles. And some are, of course, spending more on home improvements. And I think more importantly is on health. No? So these are the key areas that customers are focusing on. And we expect this trend to continue. Real estate is down, but some are still buying condominiums, some are buying properties. If you go out of Metro Manila, there's a surge in prices of land, no? Near the beaches and provinces like the north. Pampanga, and we have South Batangas. People are looking for other alternatives now for their investment, and some have even realized that taking time out from Metro Manila and playing, well, golf and their nearby residents would pay off staying for 30 days, 60 days now. So I think people are going out of Metro Manila and looking for other investments as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Uh, Finally, no, one of the things that I mentioned during my introduction to today is that you guys are in a very unique situation. Since 2009, when you guys opened, when Lexus opened here in the Philippines, you've always had just one showroom, one facility, and you're the only brand that has stayed true to that. Can you tell us what's behind that kind of thinking, or and if there's any if there's probably a chance in the future
Yes.
to have another Lexus Manila slash Lexus Philippines facility?
Yeah, so, well, right now, of course, we're always studying expanding to other dealerships as well, or to other areas. But as I speak, we are the sole dealer right now of Lexus in the country, and we are very grateful of the trust that customers have towards us. And of course, we will have more plans in the future. And so far, we have selected accredited service centers nationwide now. So we utilize Toyota dealers, our partners, namely Toyota La Union, Toyota San Fernando for the north, and for the south we have Toyota Santa Rosa. And further south we have Toyota Mandawi in Cebu, Toyota Davao. No, so our service is not just here, but it's also nationwide already. So we're planning, and we just have to be cautious, of course, of what like now what we are experiencing. So we'd like to make some expansions in the near future. But as of now, we're here with our accredited service dealers, with our Toyota partners. So the plan is there, but in due time.
So as far as sales though, I mean, technically anyone from well, most areas of the Philippines, they can say I want to buy a Lexus, and it can be done, right?
Yes, it can be done. There's no restrictions. That's why we have those accredited service dealers with our Toyota dealers, now our partners. Same quality, same price. So there's no difference whether it's from Lexus Manila or anywhere else, as long as it's our accredited dealers.
Okay, okay. Is this I'm curious though, is this kind of business model, to have just one showroom, is this unique to the Philippines?
Well, yes, some of the countries like Malaysia, in Indonesia, and well, Singapore is just one also. So we're not unique with Singapore. Malaysia, Indonesia, they have 2 to 3 dealers nationwide, so very limited also. So Lexus brand itself is not really based on volume. No, it's more for outstanding service. So we just have to be cautious in terms of our expansion plans. So it's not that unique compared to other Asian countries.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Now, any last words, Raymond, that you want to impart to our viewers, about Lexus? What do you want them to know about what's ahead for Lexus Manila?
Yeah, so what's ahead for Lexus Manila, I think, is for everyone is safety first. Well, we're very much concerned about the safety of our associates, of our customers, and probably the nation as well. So we'd like everyone to still follow the proper safety protocols. I think that's first. And the more safe we are, the more I think we can see each other, the more we can sell, the more you can enjoy our products. And to date, we sold over 6,400 units nationwide. That's from our humble beginning from 2009. And of course, we're always here to help, to assist in whatever way we can. And when things are better, we'd like to invite you to come over here in BGC, where the sole distributor is right here. I mean, the dealership right here at Global City. So stay safe, and we pray that everyone will be in good condition and be careful and stay safe always. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. There you have it. That's Mr. Raymond Rodriguez, President of Lexus Manila. And once again, thank you very much for joining us for the first edition of ZigWheels One-on-One. On behalf of ZigWheels Philippines, has been Cap Maceda Aguila. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Cap.